But Energy Minister John Jinapor has vowed to find the 1,346 missing ECG containers and get the perpetrators to account for it. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, the minister says he remains unperturbed in finding the containers. Here are excerpts of what happened in Parliament earlier today between the minister and the minority leader, Afenyo-Markin.
1,346 containers. Whatever it takes, I'll bring those containers to where they ought to be. They gave us a figure of 3,000. Then they told us it had incurred demurrage of 1.5 billion. I was sworn into office on the 17th. On the 24th, I visited the harbour. At the harbour, I was told the containers were 2,500. That is what aroused my suspicion. I didn't say at the harbour that the containers are 2,500. The report was submitted just this week. It was during the presentation of the report that the committee told me that contrary to the figures they were giving you, over 1,300 containers cannot be accounted for. So those who are on social media and trying to play the political game, let me assure you, it will not deter me. Mr. Speaker, I just came from home. We've gone to 4 warehouses. 2 of them are factories. And what they've been doing over the years is that they buy these containers with brand new aluminum cables and then melt them into aluminum rods and export them. I've received a lot of briefing, and I'm getting to know those who are behind it. This has been going on for years. I will stop that, and it will stop right now. But Mr. Speaker, it's not just going to stop. We shall retrieve the containers of the materials. We shall prosecute the perpetrators, and we will sell the rods to recover the cost.
The minority leader promised his support for the minister.
It's a system problem that I will any day support this minister to embark on reforms. It is true that when these containers come, there is some connivance with some customs officials, and they sell these containers, these cables that ECG needs after the supplier has been paid. They sell the container, and then people resell back to ECG. Are we pretending we don't know? Instead of us to pay attention and kill the rots, then we come here, then MPP, NDC, issue at stake. It's scandalous. It's serious. It's not MPP, NDC matter. All these public institutions, and sometimes some of the appointees of the previous government, you see them even saying that they are professionals. They were not MPP. Now they come here and then they are dining with you. You're also happy. When you lose power, they turn around and they do this and that and that. And then they are hitting our heads and we are here. Tackle the issues. $700 million is no cheap money. Go to ECG. Those companies are chasing ECG, and now because the minister is enforcing the cash waterfall, they say they get only 40 million cedis, and the 40 million cedis is not even enough to pay salary. Those officers at ECG, those directors, they are the ones we should hold them to account and stop this political football. Minister, I do not think an answer to the problem is a political inquiry. Hold the bull by the horn. And I, Kwame, will support you because I've been there. In fact, I've seen a lot of the rot in our public service system. I've seen a lot of the rot in the SOEs, but they take advantage of us as politicians. The managing director of ECG, the director of procurement, must be seen to be telling us why, as a director of procurement, he will issue a contract, and then the contract is that deliver at the port, bring bill of lading, and ask for payment without even having access to it. And then a minister is to take a blame. A minister must not take a blame on this matter.
Very interesting developments there in Parliament. That's Alexander Afenyo-Markin, the minority leader. And the reason why you hear him saying that he is going to support the current energy minister on this quest of identifying where these containers are is because he was the former board chairman of the Electricity Company of Ghana. And that's why you hear Alexander Afenyo-Markin made that particular position clear on his support for this. But this is one that also generated a lot of conversation, especially as to what has to be done to ensure that persons who are responsible for these containers going mysteriously missing are also brought to book or made to answer for that particular incident. So this is one that we're keeping an eye on because of the conversation that ensued in Parliament that was earlier today. But my colleague Komla Kluche has been following this quite closely. She spoke to the National Security Officer in charge of this operation that led to the identification of these Chinese nationals. We understand 10 of them and a Ghanaian who are alleged to have sold the content of these containers to these Chinese. But take a listen to him giving details of how the operation went.
Scrap companies. We followed that intel and got to this particular company located in Shire Hills. And we realized that several of these ECG cables have been cut into pieces and then melted into liquid form, molded into round aluminum bars, and then some in powdered form, which they export at very expensive prices. Now, apart from the one that they melt and sell, we also have some stock. And this particular warehouse, where the quantity you see here are from so many containers that we have been looking for all this while. We have found these cables here, which was actually sold to them with the connivance of some Ghanaians that we are gathering intelligence to arrest. But so far, on arrival here, we have been able to pick 8 Chinese suspects and then 1 Ghanaian, who is a manager. But the owner of the company, I would prefer to keep the name for now. Is on the run, but a team is on one hand for him. And we are sure very soon he will also be arrested.
Who is this owner and what's his nationality?
The owner is a Chinese. The owner is a Chinese. And the company is known as Conlock Company Limited. They are solely into scrap materials. That's the aluminium scrap material. They buy and mold it into finished product and export.
Okay. How long have you been doing this investigation?
In fact, we commenced this investigation about 2 weeks ago, when intelligence came in that these ECG containers are being diverted to various locations. But in actual fact, it started maybe several months ago, even before elections. But it's now that the intel have gotten to us, and we are determined to investigate and get all those who even started. No matter when it started, 2 or 3 years, we are determined to investigate and get the perpetrators arrested.
When you say that it started 2 weeks ago, I mean, we knew that upon the assumption of this administration, at the transition, what the minister said he handed over to him was in excess of about 3,000 or so containers. He mentioned. Yes, he mentioned some amount of containers that are locked up at the port, which remains uncleared. Only for us to get to know yesterday or a day before yesterday that these containers, well over 1,000, have gotten missing. And so, if you started the investigation about just 2 weeks ago, how do you juxtapose the concerns that people raise that these containers go missing under this administration?
As a secretariat, we can only speak to what we know after a complaint or a petition was received. So what I'm trying to say is that we received a petition 2 weeks ago, and what investigation has revealed so far is what I'm speaking to.
A petition from who?
A petition from a citizen of Ghana. It's not even one person. We have several people bringing in petitions. I haven't gotten intel about it. So the secretariat picked it up. The secretariat operates in such a way that anybody at all can bring in a petition. And once we feel that that petition borders on national security, we are obliged by law to commence investigation into it. One of them.
Would you apprise us exactly what the petition was seeking to do, or was seeking you to do?
The petitioners, all that they are seeking is that these are containers or cables that belong to the state. They are meant to provide electricity to Ghanaians. Some Ghanaians have not even gotten light in some various communities, especially in the villages. We have been hearing about people talking about doom song. Government is doing everything possible to ensure that electricity gets to everybody within the country. And so much investment has been put into this thing to import cables to extend electricity to everybody to make life stable or electricity stable. So if this thing is allowed to go on, then I don't see how we can stabilize electricity in the country.
Well, there's been an update to this because the Chief Superintendent Al-Hassan Osman, the Director of Investigations at the National Security Council, the man you just heard, has been providing more details about the information on the companies that are implicated in this particular diversion of the containers and its content procured by the ECG. So take a listen to him. Earlier today, my colleague Eric Mayonegbeta had a conversation with him when the minister, together with other officials of the Ministry of Energy, took a tour to Pong in Accra, where the national security officers uncovered the several cables being melted into poles for export.
They will get them for you. They are Chinese names. They will get them for you. So you can talk to them.
Right. Let's try and get a bit more from Mr. Osman Al-Hassan as well. And so this last company you were seeking to provide details for us on, you couldn't find or get them in the act, but they moved. Can you provide details as to really what transpired with the last company?
Thank you very much to you and your listeners. For security reasons, I'll prefer we keep that for now, because as I told you, we haven't gotten the suspect yet. And the more we talk, it means that we are blowing our own cover to make the investigation difficult.
From the interaction from some of the security personnel on the ground, there were attempts by these operatives at these respective companies to pay them off and have them look the other way with respect to what they were doing. I'm sure that came to your attention as well. And how did you go about this operation, because you've nabbed these individuals already?
This is a criminal gang or network, and I will even characterize them as an organized crime, organized criminals. And most often, they always want to pay their way through. Yes, of course, I also got that intel. They couldn't approach me personally, but some of them tried talking to some of the security personnel who followed me to these various crime scenes. And I picked that intel. But of course, that wouldn't work. That's why we decided to involve even the media, so that it also be another check for whatever that is happening. Thank you.
So far, do we know the number of people that are involved, Ghanaians and also Chinese and Indians, the number of people involved in companies?
As at yesterday, the earlier part, we had picked 10 Chinese and then 2 Ghanaians. But we have picked additional 2 Ghanaians, making the total 14, and they're all in custody. We have just picked some 4 people in Tema, but I am yet to interact with them, so I am not in a position to give you more facts on that one.
There were reports about Indians.
They are Ghanaians. They are all Ghanaians. No Indians.
As well as it was reported.
No Indians. No Indians yet. Yes. Yes, Ghanaians. Yes, Chinese and Ghanaians.
Chinese and 4
for all Ghanaians. Yes, thank you.
The number of containers
So this is what happened earlier today at Bon. So this matter is playing out in a very, very interesting way. So we'll keep an eye on it here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7.